Back to your tunes. That is music. Back to your tunes. That is music. Cartoon. That is music.
Hey guys, I'm Zach.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Evan.
And today we have a very special guest with us, an awesome animator who's done 2D claymation, 3D design, and wow.
The whole works.
Just so good to talk to him. Ben, actually, I forgot to ask you this before we started. How do you pronounce your last name?
Luce.
Ben Luce. How you doing tonight, Ben?
Very good. How are you guys?
How's the day been so far for you?
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
All right. All right.
So I guess we can go ahead and just jump right back in.
Well, I mean, you're a member of the Frederator Network. You're one of several animators that post things to like YouTube and work on projects that have either been invited or have joined their own fruition. It's great to have you. What kind of opportunities are you hoping will come out of the Frederator Network?
That's a good question. I guess I don't know. I don't have specific future goals with that, but just other than collaborating and music videos.
Right on.
Yeah.
So one of the cool things
so
about it is you see all these different projects and people just sharing stuff. So it's a pretty cool way to approach that kind of stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
So I guess we could just kind of start like at the beginning. What first really got you into animation?
I think I've just always drawn, like from a super early age, probably 2 or 3. I started drawing and then just watched a ton of cartoons as a kid. Loved them, wanted to know how they were done, and I would watch like Fantasia and just like wear out the tape. I loved the the dinosaur one, etc. Anyway, but yes, and then beyond that, I think when I saw Toy Story when I was like 6 years old, I was like, oh my God, what did I just see? How did they do that? Like, I want to know how to do that.
It was a big moment.
And just cartoons, man.
Yeah, I love cartoons. I think that's why we're all here, just because of our love of cartoons.
What were some of your favorites growing up?
God, I mean, like for movies. I mean, obviously Fantasia. I love the Brave Little Toaster. That was like kind of a kids movie, but if you really watch it again, it's just like, holy crap, this movie is really bizarre and messed up. but definitely formative. And then obviously like classic like 90s Disney stuff, Lion King, all that jazz.
Right on.
But I really got into I loved Invader Zim when that came out. That was so different and so just like perfect for middle school for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The perfect time for that to happen.
It was out there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
crazy.
So like I said at the very beginning, you have like a lot of different styles that you've done, like claymation and 3D. How did you kind of study animation? Kind of where did you get a hang of it?
Well, I started doing like just claymation stuff when I was, I don't know, probably like 7 or 8, and I remember my cousins stopped by and we just made this thing called like Captain Clay, and just just very young age doing that stuff. And then I always wanted to be some kind of artist I didn't know, so I just kept drawing, kept watching cartoons and using them as reference. And finally, in like high school, I got on the robotics team, and they had a program where you could learn how to use a 3D program. So we used 3ds Max.
Cool.
And
nice.
so it was really good. And I just went through all the tutorials that they had on the site and started teaching myself. And it turns out there was this entrepreneur that came by to talk about this like magnetic building toy he was making, and his name was Scott Fentress. And he was a really cool guy, and he saw that I was doing that, and he was like, "Oh, hey, do you want like a job?" And I was,
wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so that that was like freshman year in high school, and during the summer I went and just worked for him sort of part time and did. At that point I was also using Flash because I saw that at a camp that I went to and downloaded it and just got way into Flash. So I was doing mostly like Flash promos for him for his toy line, and they're just like kind of silly things, but they're fun to do. And then after that, like I did some 3D and stuff. I learned how to use Photoshop. I did all that just like within, creating Magna blocks like content, and it was all he was just from my hometown, so I literally just went to his place, used his Mac computer, and just did that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, for a couple summers, and I guess my first like pro thing was like before college, right before college. A friend of my dad's, his son was working in New York as like a 3D animator and art director for this studio called First Avenue Machine, the full name. And they were doing a lot of like high-end 3D stuff, so they needed interns. And that's like my first exposure to like sort of the big, the real world of animation.
The big game.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's kind of how it started.
You speak about one of the first things you did was claymation, and you actually have quite a large portfolio of claymation. Is there a specific reason why you favor that one so much?
I haven't actually done a whole lot of that as of late, but I've shifted more to like 2D animation, and that's like my major focus right now. I think claymation was kind of like where I started out with animation. So, technically I started out like drawing, and I just felt like I didn't know what illustration was at the time. I was just like drawing, like drawer. I was a drawer,
Right on.
And so, and then after that, I started realizing, I probably watched like Wallace and Gromit and Prometheus and Bob and stuff like that on TV, and I just got way into making characters and doing stupid voices and stuff. You're playing Bounce, yeah. So that's actually 3D, and I did that for a project at MICA where I went to school. We had this sort of like advanced 3D class where you can create a short animation, and you had 1 semester to do it. So that's what that is from.
Right on.
But yeah, MICA, Maryland Institute College of Art. That's where I got a bit more experience. I just was finally like surrounded by like other creative people, and I got to get severely influenced by all of them. So.
Were there any professors that helped you in particular?
God, yeah. Well, definitely. I did the pre-college program, and Steve Meneely was a great professor. At the time, I think he was. I'm trying to remember if he was a professor at the time, but he kind of went from being a professor to like a tech guy, and then back to a professor again, which is really what he wanted to do, which was awesome. So Steve taught us some great like 3D tips, things that I hadn't learned by trying to teach myself, and we did all these cool little projects. There was one where we had to create like an alien plant, and just like sort of rotate around it and have it do something. Great little short assignments like that.
Right on.
And at that point, though, in college, I started shifting very strongly towards like the 2D world, because I saw all these really cool illustrators and people around me doing like amazing stuff with 2D, and I saw that 3D was sort of like the studio game. It was kind of like, okay, you needed just tons of people to do this professionally, and if you ever look at the credits for like The Incredibles or any 3D movie, like a large amount of that, it's just
yeah, name after name after name.
Amount of people, and they may not even be, paid what they're worth. Who knows? So there's that angle too. But yeah, like the whole rhythm and hues thing. You guys remember that? That was sort of nail in the coffin there. But yeah, let's see.
So you kind of talked about professors that helped inspired you. What kind of inspirations did you have growing up to kind of get you into illustration animation?
I think there were certain. I'm definitely like cartoons, like obviously like Rugrats and Nickelodeon shows of all kinds, SpongeBob and everything. I feel like I was sort of watching like the generic shows, but I was looking at them very, very analytically. I was like, how did they draw like SpongeBob's like pores and how to how to get that. So I definitely I remember my mom used to sort of say like, Ben, you're watching too much TV, and I'm like, no, but when I watch it, I'm like learning how to do this. So
up and down and like taking notes and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say definitely that, and then also my dad exposed me to a lot of really good like classic movies. So there's definitely a film influence, and I think whenever I'm staging an animation, I'm always thinking in like film terms, not thinking in like animated terms so much.
Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and show one of your shorts here.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go with Damage. So do you want to kind of lead into this?
Yeah, sure. So this was a project, Grant Lindahl, who was a friend of mine from college, both animators. We were looking for projects to jump on, and he's also a comedian, so he sort of linked to that world, and he's doing independent comedy. He met comedian Liz Mealy, who has this pretty substantial like indie following in New York, and she was doing a tour in Baltimore where we were going to school, and I believe she was doing a tour actually at Micah. So at that point, they linked up, and she was like, "Hey, I have this idea for a cartoon. I want to create something about these robots who are damaged and they're adopted by human parents." And it seemed like a cool idea, so he sent it along to me, and we ended up collaborating and starting to create the show. We did a Kickstarter, and this is what we came up with.
All right, let's check it out.
Who's a kid who's got the spark? Or a crazy porn star? Look out, girls will cross your wire. He's a robot we desire. He's the coolest body, super hot.
Yeah, so I've been hanging out at pizza parlors, helping ladies in distress. The slice is too big. Oh, well, let me just get that for you, my dear. Oh, yeah, it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
I feel so violated, yet so honored. Dylan's my hero.
What's so great about Dylan?
Dylan flies me to all my classes when I'm late. What do you do?
I could pee orange juice.
TJ.
What do you want me to say?
That was awesome.
That was pretty amazing. Who does all the voices?
Man?
Who does? Sorry, say again.
Who does all the voices?
Yeah, so, well, actually, Grant did one of the voices. He did the guitar, which was very inspired. And I think that whole sequence was pretty much his idea, the singing and the guitar. And the singing was done by Liz's sister, who's also a professional musician, Emily Mealy. So. And then DC Benny, who's a comedian, a friend of hers, did Dylan's voice. And he's pretty established. Like, if you look his stuff up, like, he's been on a lot of things. And we ended up getting to work with a lot of really cool comedians, like sort of indirectly. We never actually met them, but they were just like sending us their voices. So that was pretty awesome. And I think the biggest one is, or certainly up there, is Ted Alexandro, who's now becoming very popular. And yeah, he's the voice of the dad. So, yeah.
So I was watching that, and the entire time I was watching it, I was thinking of a show that I used to watch when I was younger. I don't know if you watched it or remember it. It's a show called Kablam.
Wait, say again? What? Cool.
Kablam.
Oh, Kablam! Hell yeah!
Kablam.
For some reason, I was watching that, and it reminded me a lot of that kind of style of humor in that animation.
Mm-hmm. Like the Henry and June kind of stuff, or like the yeah, totally. Very like I guess kind of rough, like almost like physical. Sort of crazy. Yeah.
And I think it's all because of the psychedelic background at one point.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, that was totally. We were looking at just like '60s mod kind of stuff, like Samurai Jack. Also, there was one character in there in like the beginning, this sort of dancing girl character that was an inspiration for the 3 robots. Yeah. Anyway, lots of stuff.
Yeah.
This reference, but yes.
So what kind of animated movies and shows do you like right now?
Right now, the weird thing is I'm not always watching what's on right now, except like especially animated stuff. I don't always keep up with. Like I haven't seen Frozen, I haven't seen some of those major blockbuster things. I don't know. Like right now, I'm watching a lot of older stuff like Ralph Bakshi and things like that. But I'm trying to think what's current that I'm watching. Well, obviously Adventure Time. I love Adventure Time, and I have been keeping up with that. And then like I think. Oh yeah, Steven Universe. I still have to catch up with, but that's pretty cool. I like that one too, and has some of the same people working on it as well, like Rebecca Sugar. Awesome.
Yeah.
And, there's some ones that come to mind. I think I may think of something else too.
You mentioned you were watching Ralph Bakshi. Is there anything specific of his that you're like watching right now? He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's done a ton. I recently watched Fire and Ice, which is awesome.
Right on.
Yeah. A lot of rotoscoping, very cool use of that there, and pretty fantastic background work. I liked, let's see, I watched Cool World pretty recently.
Cool. That's the one with the.
That's the one with Brad Pitt.
Yes.
Brad Pitt, yeah. What I call the
I mean, I love it, but it's like, who came up with this and what were they smoking?
That's one of those guilty pleasure films.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
fun.
So of course,
for the wrong reasons.
So of course the reason I'm talking to you now is because you're part of the Channel Frederator Network, which is I've always found to be a great network. How did you first get introduced to that?
Well, it was actually through Damaged. I believe I'm trying to remember. I think it was Grant reached out to his friend Chris Troyce, and you guys know him. And so he sort of made the connection through that and said, hey, we have this web series, and maybe we could become sort of an affiliate, and et cetera, et cetera. And so then we ended up all of us getting linked through the network that way.
Nice.
All right.
So the first thing I saw after you joined the network, after I joined the network as well, is a short that you actually entered into a contest. So do you want to kind of talk about this one?
Yeah. So this is there was a contest on Funny or Die called the Jean-Claude Van Damme Make My Movie Challenge, and you're given green screen footage of Jean-Claude Van Damme doing all of his action-y things and saying stuff like "Where's the girl?" and like who do you work for, and like whatever, and you take that and basically make something with it in 2 weeks. And I actually found out about it like halfway through, so it was like 1 week. And so my friend Lake Bramlett, who is a aspiring voice actor, he did almost all the voices and did a really amazing job doing the Tootsie Roll Kid. But I won't say more than that. We'll just watch it, I guess.
All right, let's check it out.
In a world ravaged by destruction, one boy is searching for answers.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
But he's not alone.
Wait, what?
Jean-Claude Van Damme as Van Claude Sean Don.
Who are you walking for?
Who wants to know?
Oh, sure, I'll tell you.
What the fuck?
Follow me. I'll cover you.
Why are you here? Who are you?
A story of bravery.
Talk to me.
Go ask Mr. Owl. I'll see you all in hell.
I'll defuse the bomb. You go save the girl.
What girl?
The ultimate battle for knowledge.
You've come a long way to die. How many hits does it take to kill a man?
A waha? A two? A three?
Sorry, man.
The world may never know.
Flicks of Justice. Coming soon.
So that was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I absolutely adore that entire thing. But
how did you come up with that idea?
Lake and I both collaborated on the script. It was sort of I kept thinking, okay, like what's the most like ridiculous scenario I can put Jean-Claude Van Damme in? You know, like what's the place that he fits like the least into? And it's like this like lollipop world, like, you know. And I think part of it was there was one clip where he's like, who do you work for? You know, and I kept thinking like, oh, you know, like maybe he's got to go through like several characters to get to the final boss, you know, and it made me think of those old commercials of like, oh, hey, how many licks does it take? Oh, I don't know, ask this guy. Oh, hey, how many licks does it take? Oh, I don't know, ask this guy, you know. And Mr. Owl is I think translates pretty well into a crazy psychopath.
Yeah, that worked really well.
Yeah, definitely. And I liked how well you emulated the style of the old commercials too.
Yeah.
Not even with the characters, but also like the background, just the entire setting.
Until all the blood.
I found like all of these, you know, watercolor and sort of psychedelic type things and mixed them together and tried to make something that kind of matched it. But
so, oh yeah, sorry, I was trying to set something up. So, let me pull this up. So you have worked a bit with inside the industry and kind of worked with I guess professional companies, I guess you can say. Do you like working with them, or do you like being more independent?
I like ideally being more independent. You know, usually it's something where I want to still have a budget and I want to be sort of paid what I'm worth, you know, and all that. So that always comes into play, and it's not always easy to figure out a way to do that if you're working with people who can't pay you that much. And but even so, I think it's a trade-off. It's definitely I liked the rugby one because I got a chance to. They like brought me in specifically because I had done like some 2D stuff and they wanted to try that out. They literally said like Samurai Jack-esque. So I was like, oh wow, okay, you know, and that was kind of a nice surprise. And that's because they had worked with me in the past and they saw I did all this 2D stuff. So in that sense, that was really nice because even though we certainly had to go through the corporate ladder and still deal with all the usual stuff, it was cool to be able to like have that style and have a little more creative control.
Yeah, and speaking of that, let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Sure.
Anything else you want to add to it, or?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Well, the premise is it's for Six Nations Rugby, and it's a promo that it's based on the style of Samurai Jack, a little bit of that sort of Kung Fu Panda intro as well, and different direction for ESPN for sure. All right, roll it.
All right. Yeah, I'm having some issues here, so give me 1 second.
Uh-oh. What happened? It's my time to shine. The only one here. All right, let's check it out. That was awesome.
Thank you.
I guess
that was the short. That was the 30-second one, but we have a 60-second that is not yet online, and there's a lot more going on as well.
You said that they asked specifically for Samurai Jack style, and you can see it really well in there. How much reference do you think you had to do for that, or did you just like sit down and was like, oh, this is how I remember the show being. I'm going to do it like this.
No, definitely quite a lot of reference. It was it was a 4-month project, and so it was like a 4-month contract, which is pretty awesome as a freelancer to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And it was also on site because I was in the West Coast branch of Anderson Productions, which is the company I had done ESPN promo stuff before for, like on the East Coast. So anyway, Jeremy Joseph is the other animator who was working on this, and he and I really just, I don't know, we just totally immersed ourselves in the project. We hung out and talked about like, I learned so much about drawing muscles during this whole thing. Because I realized how little I knew about muscles.
Yeah, and speaking of, I actually have some of the pictures up here. Do you want to kind of talk about some of the characters here?
Sure. So again, this is definitely a good collaboration between Jeremy and myself. He did a lot of sketching, and so did I, and we came up with sort of our best combination. And I did a good portion of the coloring on this. So this is actually all done in Flash, except for the background, which is After Effects.
Okay, so here we have. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
So here we have, I guess, an Irishman versus a
Jesus.
Yeah, basically Jesus.
Yep. So.
And Solid Snake without his mustache versus I don't know.
That looks like what's his name? That looks like Mark Twain.
Yeah.
It looks like a really angry Mark Twain.
Maybe Professor Wiley. Yeah.
Dr. Wiley when he went back into ancient Rome.
Yep. Dr. Wiley time.
And of course we have Frodo versus a person who is going to become a troll at some point in his life.
I was going to say Patrick Warburton.
Exactly. Spot on.
Oh man, if they made that show, you should get Patrick Warburton on there.
Exactly. Just act like you don't know what's going. You're just Patrick Warburton in the past, and you don't know why.
Yeah. So anyway, it was totally awesome to work on that, and I feel like it took a lot out of me, but it was a fun project, and definitely. I can't wait to show you guys even more of that at some point, because there's like a full 60 version of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely feature that once it goes up. So, can you kind of just walk us through from making a cartoon from concept to finishing it?
Sure. Yeah, it's going to depend on the project, but usually if I'm doing it independently, I'm going to be involved in the pre-production and the production and the post-production. So, so for pre-production, that will usually involve obviously having some kind of writing if someone doesn't already have a script. Then beyond that, you've got to start to design characters and environments, all of the sort of visual development stuff, and move on to storyboarding, which is like, blocking it out and creating like the staging that's going to happen throughout the animation. I will sometimes make an animatic just to put it to music or to pace it and use that as a reference. So for like the storyboard, I might use Photoshop and then draw out each panel and bring that into After Effects and start to line up the frames in the order and the length as well that I would like to see. So yeah, and beyond that, then you go into production. So like I've used a lot of different programs. We have like Flash, TV Paint. This one you're seeing here is TV Paint, and then also I recently got Toon Boom Animate, which is really awesome. So, yeah. So I kind of pick and choose depending on what the needs of the project are, but yeah. And
what's your favorite stage?
What's my favorite? What?
What's your favorite stage of production?
That's tough. I mean, I really like visual development. I've even considered like moving into that a little bit more because it's it's fun. You get to ideate, and then it's a little less work as well.
Right on.
But like it's super fun, and I actually did a lot of that for Six Nations Rugby. I can pull up some examples. Let's see. Probably the fastest way to do that is through my site, so I'm just going to send you that.
All right.
So yeah, while he's pulling that up, I'll go ahead and play another video of yours.
Woo!
This is called Blue Alley Waltz by Sinitas Tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to say about that one?
Yeah, so I'd actually been a big fan of Sinitas Tempo for a while. I saw his music. I guess I listened to his music first when I was on Motionographer, and I saw a short sort of limited music video that someone had done with all these abstract shapes. I thought that was really cool, and so I started listening to him and followed him on Facebook. Then one day he posted like, "Oh, hey, I need like artists, illustrators, whatever," and I was like, okay, well, maybe I could do an album cover. So I sent him a thing, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm an animator, but blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, perfect. I actually would like to do a music video. So then he pretty much gave me free reign to do almost whatever I wanted, and he liked my ideas. Just went with it. So it took about 3 months to complete, and while also working on some episodes of Damage.
All right, let's take a look. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was trippy as hell.
I gotta ask, Ben, were those demonic eclairs circling that kid as he walked down the street?
That's a reference to Voodoo Donuts here in Portland.
Oh man, I've heard about Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah.
I have not. They sound delicious, though.
I mean, they are pretty much demonic eclairs.
That's awesome.
And I have to ask. There's one part that I have to ask about.
Okay.
The cat, is that based on cake?
It is. It is. It's actually based on my cat, but I thought, okay, he kind of was talking about the sort of Adventure Time style throughout. There's something, referencing that, and so, you may notice with some of the other characters, like especially like the girl, like it's sort of the face was like Princess Bubblegum-ish.
Yeah.
And so the cat was actually my cat had recently died, and I thought, I want to sort of pay tribute, and then I was like, oh well, okay, let me take a look at like cake, and that's a good reference for the shape of the cat and the eyes and all that. So, and she's
now, speaking of music videos, you mentioned you're working on a music video for a band in Portland.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually, it's cool how you run into people. I met this girl Lydia at a bar, which is Blue Olive, and she's actually a member of a band. So she and Andrew, who are Fang Moon is the name of the band. They really wanted an animated music video, so we were talking about it, and I was like, oh, okay, like we can start referencing. I started watching a lot of Ralph Bakshi, a lot of I watched heavy metal and stuff, and we were talking about sort of having this very I guess it's sort of retro fantasy kind of style story where they are actually characters within the story. Yeah, and if you want to listen to their music, I'm going to send you guys a link. And
Fang Moon, right, on Bandcamp?
Fang Moon, yep. And
what's the song called?
We haven't 100% cleared which song it is, but I think it's going to be Faces. So, yeah, but that's not confirmed. And we're going to be doing a Kickstarter, so I'll send you guys a link as soon as we have it, and keep your eyes peeled for Fang Moon on Kickstarter. Yeah.
If it's half as awesome as that last one, it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be twice as awesome.
So, well, I'm going to actually go ahead and bet 3 times.
Oh.
3 times is awesome.
There you go.
Got $20 on 4 times.
What I like.
So let's go and start wrapping up. I want to ask you, do you have any goals in the animation industry or film industry?
I think my main goal is just to kind of keep doing the stuff that I like, but getting better at it. I guess that's my general goal. Yeah, I don't have too much specific beyond that. Like, I'm not like actively seeking to join like a studio or anything like that, but I want to work with cool people and make cool things, and I think that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Nice.
All right.
Evan, you have anything to ask him?
Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see more of it.
And Ben, do you want to plug anything before we go off here?
Let's see. Oh, well, sure, yeah. I'm also going to be doing a very short collaboration with an illustrator here in Portland through After Effects PDX, which is a great organization that brings together animators and After Effects users. And in this case, this guy, James Fenner, you should check out his work. He's very cool, great illustrator. And I actually haven't met him yet, but we're going to meet tomorrow to collaborate on an animation for this thing called The Burst PDX, which is they pair up random animators and illustrators to create a short. I think it's going to be, I don't know, 20 or 30-second thing in about a week. So,
Awesome.
So also keep your eyes open for that one. That will probably end up on YouTube or Vimeo. So, yeah. Almost
All right.
And I know you've also been doing some collaborations for the Channel Frederator Network.
Correct. I did a short, I think it was 6 seconds of that world map collaboration, which was the first one. And, yeah, I don't know, they've been doing a ton of them. I can't even keep up anymore. Like the Pi one, and they have one for the Webbies now, which is pretty cool. So anyway, best of luck to people who are doing those, and can't wait to see what they're going to do.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us for our first interview podcast. I think it was a little rocky at points, but
sure.
I think we got through it.
We certainly did.
Sure, then we did good.
The connection seems to have held up pretty well, which is, I think...
Thank God.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's 80% of it, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Just making sure
it
holds up its end.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, for joining us.
All right, thank you guys for having me.
I've been Zach.
I've been Evan.
And this is That Cartoon Podcast. Let me play us out. Oh man, now I need to pull this all up.
We were so prepared in rehearsals.
Back to your tunes. Dynasty music. Back to your tunes. Dynasty music.
To the army.